Welcome to another episode of Financial Minds. I'm your host, Jamie Agostino. We're continuing our series highlighting the teams behind the scenes who support our credit unions every day. Today, we're getting to know our implementation team, the group responsible for helping credit unions bring new services to life. Whether it's launching a new product, making changes to an existing, or guiding teams through training and setup, this team plays a critical role in turning ideas into reality. They are the ones making sure that when credit unions decide to move forward with something new, the process is smooth, organized, and successful. Today, we'll talk about what their work looks like, the challenges that they help solve, and how their efforts ultimately help credit unions better serve their members. Let's dive in and let's meet the team. All right, so could each of you take a moment, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your role in the implementation team. Who would like to go first?
Shonda.
All right.
Awesome. My name is Shonda Corbett. I am the implementation coordinator one. I work with credit unions and internal teams to help coordinate system implementation, support project, support timelines, and ensure a smooth transition, doing new product setup, system conversions, mergers, and deconversions. My main focus on the team is I am the lead of a positive pay, Sally Mae, and foreign check collection, and I am the backup with Bill Pay Cash and WB Mason.
Okay. All right. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next. My name is Aria Williams. I'm also a implementation coordinator one. Just like Shauna, I also work on the conversions, merges, deconversions, and implement services for the credit unions. I am the main coordinator for the ACH services, wire services, and instant payments. So any questions about that, reach out to me.
All right. Tish, you
I'll
look
go
like you're
next.
ready. Should I?
Not really, but I'll go anyway. My name is Tish Madden. I'm implementation coordinator, one, and I work on conversions, deconversions, mergers. I also am the implementation coordinator, lead implementation coordinator for bill pay, cash services, and WB Mason work, which is also called Workplace Essentials. I am back up on check foreign check services, Sally Mae as well. And I also, along with implementing these services, I do help the credit unions maintain maintenance as far as it is on those services as well.
Okay.
And anything else, all other things as assigned.
Jim or Haley?
I can go.
All right.
So I'm Haley Zonizer. I am an Implementation One coordinator, and I started with the corporate back in August of 2022. So I've been involved with like a lot of the services. My main focuses though are home banking images and share drafts. And I've also done a lot in the capture work as well. But yeah, when I started out here, I was doing the kickoff calls, which helped me build a lot of knowledge around a lot of the services, even just like basic little knowledge. So yeah,
Okay.
but yeah.
All right. And Jim?
My name is Jim Critter. I'm an implementation coordinator too. I primarily handle the deposit capture services such as branch and teller capture, mobile ATM, ITM, and business for the ones that have direct connections to TransCapture. And then I also help with the image clear, aka X9 files that are uploaded for credit unions that use another vendor that doesn't do a direct connection, but for them to upload a file for us to process. I also help Haley with home banking images. I do most of the TransCapture billing, particularly the items that are like the recurring and one-time fees for that. And then I'm also the quote credit union whisperer, where sometimes when we're trying to figure out what they're saying, somebody like, hey, can you read this? Do you know what they're trying to say? Maybe a service I know, may not be, but sometimes I can kind of interpret a little bit and be like, I think this is what they're asking. And that, that sometimes is helpful with either in an email or sometimes like on the kickoff calls.
All right. Well, I know there's a few others, on the implementation team who would like to tell us who else is on your team and what their focuses are.
I can.
Okay.
Anita is the director of our department, and I would probably do a misjustice trying to clarify everything that she does. You could probably do a 2 hour podcast and might not still cover everything she does. But high level, she obviously oversees us in our department. She attends a lot of meetings to represent implementation for larger projects and corporate initiatives. And then she shares that information with us, brings the team in to help delegate tasks and for those different projects where, when and where applicable. And then we also have Allison Robinson and Mercedes Rodon Colon. They're also implementation coordinators too, and primarily work on the same services I do. Mercedes also helps with the fraud services and image file delivery.
All right. So big team there. And then from what it sounds like, you guys aren't busy at all. I'm just obviously I'm teasing. I know you guys are very busy all the time. So let's start with the basics. What does the implementation do, and where do you fit into the process of supporting credit unions?
The main thing would be we should be implementing new services. That's, hence our department name. So whenever a credit union signs an addendum, it gets processed and assigned to somebody, and the coordinator kind of reaches out and runs with that. Um, we also handle conversions and mergers. So a conversion could be anything where a credit union might be switching their vendors for their core and or home and online banking and or mobile banking. It could be some other type of conversion where maybe they're switching a vendor that handles one piece of one of the services. So we work with them to see what work may need to be done on our side and or with the credit union or their new vendor. Um, let's see, mergers, same thing. We have calls with them to review all the services that might be impacted. And then after those calls, we send out a recap email that kind of provides the action items for what the vendor needs to do, the credit union, and what we need to do. If there's any follow-up items, if they don't have those answers for us, we put that in there so that they can give us the answers, and then we can figure out what those duties are. Let's see, what else do we do, guys? Maintenance for existing services and platforms. If credit unions have changes, things like that, there's certain things that we have to do the maintenance for.
Even if they're having basic issues too, like,
Troubleshooting.
shooting.
Troubleshooting.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
Uh, let's see.
we do
Billing.
a
Some
lot.
of us do billing for different services. Um, other projects and duties as assigned, like Tish said.
Yeah.
So
As things come
basically,
up.
yeah, it's basically, credit unions, we implement we have financial products and services that they have, systems that they have. And when they change vendors or they upgrade it, you have to make sure on our end, whatever type of technical connection works and meets with their new vendor or their upgrade. So we have to make sure it connects and that their members are able to get in to do the things that they need to do and they do on a daily basis, and the credit union does on a daily basis. So, you got to make that connection, make sure that change works. I always say it's like a box, and you might take the pieces that are already in the box out because you're changing the pieces, and you got to make sure that the box is configured for the new pieces, and so it's it can be challenging sometimes to for everybody to speak the same language, because vendors speak a certain language, credit
Yeah.
unions, well, sometimes don't speak either one of those languages, and we all speak a language. So we have to make sure that everybody has what they need to make sure that our members are able to flow like they did yesterday, today.
All right. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
You're right. I mean, we all have different words for what we call the same thing. So, some vendors call it one thing, we call it something else. And, kind of getting those languages to come together can be half the battle when you're implementing things. And, I see you guys, I see Jem and Haley. Every now and then you guys come into the Middletown office because you got to test checks, and that's part of the process too.
Yes.
Implementing things, making sure everything's tested and working good. Um, so my next question, when a credit union decides to add a new service, what does the implementation journey look like from start to finish?
So
Ah, oh,
I was gonna say, it's Shonda, if you want to start, I mean, it starts with like Aria, Shonda, Tish, when they come in, they process those agreements and contracts.
Yeah, I would
And
say, yeah.
and then from there, it gets assigned to a coordinator and we'll reach out to engage with our credit union and get whether it's a questionnaire or provide them information, get their vendor contact so that we can start working with their vendor, whatever needs done. So start that, and then we go into almost like a setup phase. We do any type of setup that we would need to do. Um, a lot of times there's testing involved too that needs to be done. And then from there, once testing has been completed and we can green light, we move to production or go live. And a lot of times it is based on a timeline. They would like it to go live by a certain date, so we're aiming to meet that date as well. So, but
All right, as far as right now, what are some of the common services or changes credit unions are implementing today?
Um, from that perspective, I would say a lot of ACH, because a lot of people or a lot of credit unions use ACH for payroll, loans, or lending. So that has become common. There's also a new service that is currently with the wire. It's called domestic wire import, where they can use a SFTP connection and upload their wire file through that
Okay.
SFTP connection.
All right. And I also think you guys are probably heavily involved in the share draft conversion that might be going on at this time
Yes.
as well.
Mhm.
Yes.
most of us are very involved
Yes.
in that. Yes.
Yes.
It is busy. Even the ones that aren't,
Yes.
they see all the emails that come into our department inbox. So they are just as overwhelmed with emails and madness, just like us.
Well,
So,
I say that the ones not involved in the project just kind of hold up the rear. We just hold up the rest of the
you're-
ship to, while they're working over there. We gotta make sure that the normal everyday stuff doesn't, fall to the wayside. But so
yeah.
it
Yes.
works.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need that support when others are kind of, I hate to say, arms kind of flailing as they're, trying to
Mhm.
solve all the different things. You need somebody on the back other side to be support and also encouragement for each other. So
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
Mhm.
So many people probably don't even realize how much work happens behind the scenes. What are some of the things your team handles that credit unions might not even see?
So many emails. So many emails that we
Yeah.
get.
Yes.
Even just like
Uh,
changes, updates, daily, there's daily things that we receive that are just, not in addition to whatever projects we're working on, we kind of still support a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like limit changes or some of
yep.
the systems like we maintain who the like admin users are. So if they, maybe had a staff change or somebody new added or running into issues,
Mhm.
things like that.
Right.
Um,
Are you having conversations with like the vendors too? Like, the credit unions aren't part of, so you're probably having those types of meetings too on behalf of
With
the credit union.
testing, yeah, a
Yes.
lot of system
Yes.
testing, system
Yeah.
configurations, yeah. So yeah.
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 I
And
feel like
I
if we don't have to involve the credit unions, we try not to. Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say to Haley's point there, like same thing with the troubleshooting. Sometimes depending on what it is, we might just need to
Mhm.
work with the vendor, not the credit union per se. And other times we might need to do both. So yeah, we try to do as much as we can. Yeah, I think the other stuff is a lot of what we do is with our products as follow up. If we're not hearing back, we're trying to follow up to do what we can to keep things moving along and prioritizing as best as we can to try to help those credit unions meet that whatever that target date is if we have enough notice.
Okay. So, what does a successful implementation look like from your perspective?
I think we all I can joke on this is them getting live. Them actually,
Without issues.
Without issues,
Without
exactly.
Yeah. You're
Yes.
sitting like there, like this if they go live in the morning, and you're like, by the end of the day, I haven't gotten an email. I haven't gotten an email that
Yes.
says I can't get
Yes.
in.
Definitely
My
walking on
member can't get
eggshells.
in. Yeah, my member can't get in, or it's not working. You're like, okay, I haven't gotten one. It's almost 4 o'clock. Maybe I'll make it. You come in the next morning, you might have an email, but that's successfully. If you don't if they can get in, if everybody's done everything they need to do, the vendor's done their part too, and it's connected, and you get an email that says, hey, yeah, we got in, everybody's got in, and everything looks good. So you really feel that looks good.
Yeah, yeah, all that you want to see all that planning, all that time, all of those meetings, all of those connections on that day of live. Everything works great, and fingers crossed, all of that process worked to its full advantage, and the credit union successful in getting
Mhm.
access to it. So yeah, I definitely can see that being the point of success, but I can also see why you guys would be crossing your fingers on go live
Yes.
too, because there are things that can happen that we can't plan for, obviously. So what are the biggest challenges credit unions face when implementing a new product or service? What are some of the challenges you guys run into?
I think like for a like implementing a new service perspective, I think credit unions not, I guess, getting their vendor involved more ahead of time than waiting until they're in the middle of it, and
Hmm.
then it causes issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all vendors have timelines, so trying to
Hmm.
even get into their queues can be challenging.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And some
Yeah, I was
services have more issues. I mean, have the different issues. Like for me, for bill pay, sometimes it's the credit union really knowing exactly what it is that the conversion is supposed to do, or what it's changing. What am I really doing? Am I changing my core? Am I changing how I'm receiving my file? Am I really changing anything? Or is this just a platform change, which is going to happen in the background for my home banking, and it's not going to affect the product, bill pay, or another product. So it's basically sometimes it's just the communication of what's really going to be going on, what am I doing, that
Okay.
type of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm sure training is a big part of implementation. So, how do you ensure, staff at the credit union feel confident about using the new service after it's been launched?
Usually for ACH wise, after training, um, even before training, we do tell them that most of the time we record the trainings. So after the recorded training, we'll send the training to the credit union so then they can reference in it for future use. And then after the service is live, then we usually give out support for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, we'll give them the like our EFT support email, or the transcapital support email. Like we have different support teams. So after they're good, after we done our part, then
Yeah.
they can look at other people to go for other additional questions.
Yeah, once you get them through implementation, there is a handoff point where that
Mhm.
handoff then becomes the operations team. So yes,
Right.
and so some of the trainings you said, so you're saying you're doing live trainings with the credit union,
Some
and then
of the
you're
yes.
recording those. Okay,
Yes.
all
Yeah.
right, and then obviously I'm aware that there might be some training material guides as well
Yes.
that I'm sure you guys are
Demo
making sure that
links
they
and
get.
such, yes.
So what is the most rewarding part of working on the implementation team? What's the most rewarding part?
I would say again, helping the credit unions through the process of them going live, a successful implementation, or even a successful termination, because we have to watch that as well, that we're doing all those functionalities to make sure when they terminate that the following month they don't get charged. So that's very important to the team as well.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's if I get everything on my list done by the time I have to get off for the day. Sometimes that's success. If you look and you feel like, well, I got quite a bit done today. I think that to me, that feels good. That makes me feel less, nervous, or, like, oh my God, I didn't get to get this done. Or you relieve sometimes getting a credit union, or even a product manager or CAM or something hey, something that you promised that you would get by the end of the day, if you can get it to them by the end of the day, you're like, I'm so happy, excited, I fulfilled the promise. So,
Okay. All right. Anyone
I,
else?
I think the other thing is just working with each other. Like we have a really good team. We
I
all
was going to say that
get
too,
each other.
Jim.
We try to lift each other up. Like Tish kind of said, like some of us are really more involved in the share draft thing. Some aren't, but those that aren't are just there to be like, hey, I'll do whatever I can to try to help you or help monitor emails. Or if I see something important that comes in, be like, hey, there's an email from so and so. Is that for you, or do you want me to forward that to support type thing? So I think that's another piece
mhm,
for us
Yeah,
that is helpful. That we really have a good cohesive team.
I completely agree with that. We do,
mhm,
and we really do work well together and can lean on each other and bounce ideas off each other to try to figure out things.
mhm.
So it is a spectacular team that we have.
All right. So, any final comments you'd like to share with our audience, about how your roles are helping credit unions succeed?
I think it kind of just jumps back with Jim point, like us being more of a unified team. I think that helps us really succeed to help other credit unions. Because I feel like if you have a discombobulated team, you can't get anything done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if a credit union's member comes in and they need cash and they got that cash and the credit union has that cash and they can do that, or if they need a money order or a positive pay. I mean, if they can get that and it goes smoothly, and or they have a conversion and the next day after the live date there's no issues, their members,
Yeah.
it's seamless to their members. That right there is a lot of success, and you feel good because you know um, not for a credit union to have stress during a conversion or after conversion is a lot, means a lot, because uh, you've affected somebody's day
Yeah.
who also affects their members' day. So, you know, that to me is success, and that right there, I want to make sure that I'm positively affecting the outcome of something in someone's credit union's day.
Yeah, absolutely. You want the new service that the credit union implemented to not really impact the members. You want it to be as seamless to their members as possible.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys are doing. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I think it's clear that successful implementations are much more than technology. They're about people, planning, and partnerships. Our implementation team works closely with the credit unions every step of the way, helping them introduce new services, navigate the changes, and ensure their teams feel confident and prepared. Their work helps turn strategic decisions by the credit union into real solutions that benefit both the credit union and the members that they serve. So, to our implementation team, thank you so much for all the work you do behind the scenes every day to help accelerate credit union success. And thanks for joining me today. I'd also like to take a moment and give a special thanks to today's sponsor of this episode, which is Default Sleuth. Stop waiting for delinquency. Most collections platforms manage missed payments. Default Sleuth detects financial strain before payments are missed. Delinquency rates are rising, staffing remains constrained. Traditional indicators like past days due and credit scores often reveal risk after financial strain has already been taken hold. Default Sleuth helps credit unions move from reactive collections to proactive prevention. Are you ready to see Default Sleuth in action? Vizo Financial will be hosting a webinar on April 2nd, 2026 at 2 p.m. to introduce Default Sleuth, discuss the partnership, and provide a brief demo of the platform. We invite you to join us and explore how Default Sleuth can help your credit union transition from reactive collections to proactive risk management. And you can register for that webinar today at www.vfccu.org. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Financial Minds. We look forward to continuing this series as we spotlight the teams who make our mission real. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and make it a great day.